Take 3. Let's see if I'm going to be successful this time. It's Mercury retrograde. Everything will last more. So guys, it was my intention not to give you guidelines for, hey, you know, this is the general energy. But as I was shuffling and just trying to kind of really meditate on the cards and meditate on signs, well, 3 cards jumped out. So that clearly was to me a sign. I saw the sign. So we have Page of Pentacles, we have 8 of Cups, and we have Queen of Wands. So I'm not going to go in majority of the details other than telling you, well, that's really good news. Look at him. He has a map on the bottom. He kind of has a feeling where he wants to go and what he wants to accomplish. After all, this is a pentacle. And look at the tower where he is heading. He is also flipping a coin up in the air, so he is feeling lucky. Pentacle is basically omen of some maybe new financial future. And I know generally it's new year that we make new resolutions, but this seems to me that November will actually push us in that direction. And in fact, more so with 8 of Cups, look at her, she's leaving. Does she look like that she's missing something? Nope. Nope. Look at this. All of these cups are nice and solid over here. In fact, one of them is still steaming. She just felt, there's something missing. There's a particular spice. There's something that I really want, and I really want to go in that direction. So this is going to be honoring that kind of thing. And then where we are heading, whoa, ladies, if you're a lady, you will be on freaking fire. You will be setting your affairs, you'll be putting things in order, organizing, doing. It's going to get busy. This is very unusual for the end of the year in Northern Hemisphere, because we go, oh my god, it's 4 o'clock and it's dark outside, or oh my god, it's 9 o'clock in the morning and it's dark outside. It's one of those really hard days to get through, but not this time around. If you're a Cat Tarot listener, you are going to be infused with energy. So Queen of Wands, if you're a guy, would mean that you're going to have a woman organizing you. Hey, just bend over, you might be slapped on your tushy. So no, I'm just kidding. Queen of Wands is a really good sign. It means we'll be willing to move further. So there were 3 cards. It was one after another, after another, jumping out. So what I really liked about that is that actually we do not have swords. Yes, I know I'm Aquarius, I'm a sword element, but we are going to do really okay without thinking too much, because analysis paralysis, maybe it lasted for a few months, but this means, hey, I know I have to do slow and steady. I maybe need to get a few more courses, but I'm getting there. I want to better myself, and then put all of things in motion. So before I start with your sign, let me just give you a really quick announcement, which is usually happening at this time of a year. And yes, this is that time of a year. I'm actually producing 3 times the material. So Mercury retrograde, 3 times the material. Well, what could go wrong? But if you guys are curious about the upcoming year, the fashion of the last 2 years, I'm going to do my annual taroscopes. I may shuffle things around a little bit. Generally, there is general info about the upcoming year in terms of numerology. We are entering a year number 4, but the most important thing, we are entering a completely new decade, right? So if you're curious about basically the upcoming year, if you have multiple plans that you want to implement in 2020, you're just not alone. So these predictions will help you a great deal. Of course, a personalized planning is also available, but this one here is now on pre-order. It is for $19.95 for one sign, and it is for $45 for all 12. So that way you can check your ascendant, you can check your moon sign, and yeah, you can just peek in somebody else's future for 2020. So take advantage of this price. So I'll be working on that during the month of November. Hopefully they'll be fully delivered by early December, and then the price will go up, significantly up. So guys, 2020 is very important year because it marks the beginning of that relationship between Jupiter and Saturn conjunction that initiates a 20-year cycle. Well, if this is something that you really take seriously, if you really want to push forward and have this additional kind of like tricks in your pocket, this is the way to go. So just click on the link, or you can also visit me on social media where I'll be advertising this for the next month to come. So, shall we start? Hi Taurus, and welcome to your November reading. So let's check your love angels cards. It is safe for you to love, heart-to-heart conversations, and stay optimistic about your love life. I think it's really clearly pointing to possibly some rough times that you have experienced, and there is like some kind of encouragement that is like actually being born out of it. Maybe you are too maybe process oriented, kind of like this relationship should be this way or this relationship should be that way, instead of like really kind of like accessing how this really makes you feel. So let's see what you have here. You have the moon, so this is really talking about tapping in it, and this is going to be a really, really big one. It's shown full moon over here, and November 12th is going to be extremely important day for you, right? This is like when the full moon is in Taurus. So you really have to think back to your birthday, what new kind of like things you have placed in motion, because now the cycle is kind of like ending one big phase, right? So for example, have you been good? Have you not been good? Both of them would actually have certain kind of like approach. So let's say you feel that maybe you wanted certain things, but you didn't want to really work on it. You didn't have time. And maybe you're like beating yourself over that. But this right now is telling you, look, never mind, dust off. Now it is a good time to ask for a raise or maybe a new interview. And this, in fact, for you is going to be a very passionate full moon. This is going to be really probably a night to remember. So mark it down, November 12th, right? So it's possibly the night before, 11th to 12th, right? So if you're single, just go out and mingle. That is going to be very important. And if you have a crush, ask that crush on a date. So 6 on 1s, like as I said, it's going to be extremely powerful. Things are really, really going to look up. Wow, then you have the world here. This is like 6 on 1s. Then we have Page of Swords. Yeah, that was like this heart-to-heart conversations. Maybe you felt, you know what, I'm lessening the ability to interact. I'm lessening this ability to love. If I have these hard conversations, well, we should just get along. Well, as you know, the intellectual part of you, that head part, is really saying, sometimes you need to talk to people are not identical. You do not have the same soul. And maybe something is self-explanatory to you. You are definitely one of those, grounded signs, earth kind of like ability, like very strong bull. But other people might have flighty ability, and that can maybe drive you bananas. Knight of Wands. Yeah, look at that. You have the word warrior, and you have somebody maybe who is in and out of your life, and maybe you're wondering, okay, what the heck? Am I trusting this person, or should I just kind of like keep a little bit aside because I don't know, maybe I don't want to be hurt. There is like certain kind of like level in that. Maybe there is like this kind of like bold approach. Maybe somebody had that talk with you and you really didn't take it well. But look at that, the world. That's the same thing I was telling you about the full moon. There's like certain things that are coming to completion. It is all good. This is a really good combination, actually. So there is your card, the Hierophant. This is also linking to November 5th. It is about unity. It is about, you know, who am I? Where am I? Where am I? There is like this, I would say, mirroring effect that I see over here from those echoes of something that has happened in the past that that is really coming to the fore. It might be a day full of power struggles and kind of like frustration, something that you would want, and you have a concept, you have a plan, you have a presentation, and nobody's having time to listen to you, to hear you out, right? And you are really talking to your partner, or maybe like it was not something that you could quickly come up with, especially if you're dealing with fire sign or with earth sign. It looks like the tensions will be higher, but not so much for, let's say, water and earth signs. With them, it's going to be kind of a little bit of smooth sailing in this particular case. Then we're having Judgment here. So there is going to be a big shift. Mercury is going to go direct on November 20th. So, hey, you know, they're like some kind of like deals that are finally coming through. They're like all the stuff that you felt frustrated around the 5th, that around the 20th is going to start like feeling good. But also the perceptions, and what do I do about this person? Maybe you're texting with your ex. Stop texting, right? You need to at this stage focus on the present. This is a release. Look at this. This is like 20 and this is 21. You also have 18. You are really finalizing certain things, and you really want to go back to that Zen thing. I kind of like I know how to move forward, kind of a thing. Your environment, wow, Queen of Cups. This is lovely. This is like we are talking the end of month here. In particular, it's going to be sure that full moon, you can put the seduction ability like galore. Whatever it was, the frustration, whatever needed to be cleared, all of a sudden it's going to start feel hopeful and loving and going in this new direction. I would maybe hesitate a little bit around November 18th. That is like when Mars is entering Scorpio. So now this is a rub, because Scorpio is a detective of the zodiac and can be sneaky, right? And this is exactly the opposite to your sign. So this is going to be time that you need to keep cards close to your chest, right? And don't reveal your strategies or anything. And it might even require of you to maybe behave a little bit out of your character and be kind of like weirdo yourself. For example, you might need to suck up to your boss, or something that really annoyed you that you wanted to talk and you wanted to bring up. You will need to let that go, and that's in the interest of the bigger picture, right? So don't sweat the small stuff. That's pretty much kind of like a message over here. With this full moon in basically a Taurus, it's a time for that bubble bath, or even better, Epsom salt bath, because I really think you really need to relax over here. So this is falling also in your environment, and it's really talking about that you might feel frisky, and it's going to be, there is like this optimism about your love life, and finally is feeling kind of like letting go. You have done something right if things are moving forward. Yeah, certain things are better and will get better and will progress further. So this is really good. Wow, you have the Hermit. So look at the earth that is coming through. Also, I want to say with the world, it is like huge influence of the fixed signs. So we are talking about your sign. We're also talking about Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo over here. So as I said, Scorpio influence through Mars is going to be maybe not the greatest one, right? So, but the world still means, look at that, celebration, hoorah, and where is the picnic, where is the party, kind of a thing. That in particular can also happen around 22nd to 23rd, this is when we are shifting from Scorpio to Sagittarius, and I'm seeing that here as well. There is that energy coming through, and that energy is going to hit you in a really good way, right? So you will at that stage finally resolve in your head what you need to resolve. For you, I'm sorry to say, but you cannot let go of the grudges, and you can keep them up and sometimes even decorate them to the point that actually shift to be something else. You're going to realize with this energy over here that, it's almost like that you need some kind of win, and people need that win, and they hold a grudge when they feel repressed or suppressed, or when things really need to happen. You ultimately, I'm seeing here, it's kind of like really weird. I see this yoga here, I see this yoga here. It's going to be meditative month, but also month where you're going to have to acquire and deepen your own ability, your own wisdom. And there is like the time when you go for a long walk, or maybe even hiking in the nature, where you really need to be left on your own, because then all of these kind of like items in your head start to kind of like get and they're pulled together. They're forming an intelligent thought. Up to that point, it's just a brain fart, right? So that's almost like a house cleaning for the brain. Like that place, it's not loneliness, it is being alone, where you don't hear the buzzing from the internet for text. This is why we are getting stupidifying, because we are like too much exposed to everything and not having enough time to really focus in that direction. And then you have Knight of Swords. Like, you have knights, you guys will have, and for those of you who are looking on the bottom, there's going to be 8 of Cups. So there is like this intention of moving to something that you really want. It's almost like some of you are on some level feeling, am I settling? Am I doing it right? But you guys, I really would say you have nothing to complain. Maybe somebody had that value, because this Page of Swords is now becoming Knight of Swords. Well, now he got his broom. Now he can create more damage because he can go higher, but he also sees more. He is turning into a more mature energy. And you see how basically this worked out without you going out, without like you kind of like, it looks like this. It's like kind of putting a foot down, and this is the way it has to be done. I mean, clearly your energy is encompassed over here. Look at the amount of major arcanas. This is like ridiculous over here. So some of you who have a relationship that it's kind of like clingy, it's on a thread, you will require that that relationship gives you some satisfaction, or else you're going to start exploring your options. For those of you who are single and willing to date, you will have at least 2 choices where, you might have Virgo, you might have Taurus, Pisces, Scorpio, as I said, Aquarius, Leo, and another Taurus possibly coming your way. Also, water signs are really the ones that will really feel like a really, really good fit. Specifically Pisces and Scorpios. That is going to feeling like home, and that is what's going to give you, is going to restore your faith in, hey, everything can work out, whether this is a new partner or it's a repair relationship. If you have been fiddling with an old partner somewhere from who knows where, it was like that October 31st to November 28th during that Mercury retrograde, this might all of a sudden feel like, well, what the heck was I thinking? Like, exes are like, there is a reason why that ex is an ex, whether or not you were the one who left this person, or you have been the one who has been left. Because sometimes, especially for you, especially for the fixed signs, you know, there is this essence, and sometimes the Mercury retrograde period exists just for us to be able to go through this whole thing and do it, and kind of like finally reach a disclosure and finally reach that aha moment. For you guys, I guess whether you're male or female, you will be getting this entry of this gentle soul. Where is my unicorn? My unicorn is hidden. I cannot show you. These are like really these puppy eyes. There is like somebody who is emotional, who is kind, who is loving. And you also might have the types who are like more like to the front, who are like quicker to see or quicker to snatch your arm and say, hey, you know, can I get you a drink? And I'm so and so. That kind of stuff. Somebody really vibrant. So all of these choices will be possibilities. But all of these choices will also kind of like come back to, hey, you know, what do you call home? What is this for you? It's going to be pulling that inside energy. You guys also, I have to tell you, you'll feel very frisky, to put it mildly. End of the month, Neptune is going to go direct in Sagittarius. We are kind of like seeing that here. And I really have to say that everything that you have accomplished on that November 12th, which is going to be the glory performance day in Between the Sheets, it's going to just like send waves. And even though this is not about sex, this is obviously about your inner needs. I can see that here. That performance is going to be almost like performance like of your decade, of given that this is the last decade, you will really pat yourself on the shoulder. So I guess I really want to see this moon. What is about these perceptions? Because this can talk about some jealousy, and I really think that is going to, talk about the 12th when you have this full moon in Taurus, but it's also going to address when Mars enters Scorpio, right? Because that's going to be tense. Like you have joyfulness and you have melody, both of them reversed. But yeah, I guess that goes back to what I said. You don't necessarily like to wrap certain things in somebody's face, but you will just need to let go of certain things, right? Melody to me is kind of like a depressive card. I'm not crazy about this card, but it is positive when it's reversed. So you see, ta-da! And this is to me healing card, and it's adjusting, like that is the end of that period of confusion and sickness and hindrance. So if this comes to relationships, then the two parties have come to their senses and they resolve their issues. Maybe it was some misunderstanding, maybe it was interpretation of some word, maybe it was a conflict, and maybe it was different obstacle. So I really think, that it's going to be a big shift in how you see things, and perceptions are no longer be kind of like skewed, if you wish. So guys, don't forget also to check your ascendant and check your moon sign, because that's going to give you a bigger kind of like attitude toward everything. So I have one more card to seal the reading, and the card you got is details reversed. So let me read this for you. Heed the gentle warning that perfectionism will not lead you to what you desire, but instead will steer you away from it. Nothing will be good enough when you become obsessed with being perfect. No one can ever measure up to your scrutiny, and nothing that you can do ever will assuage you. The general feeling is not being up to par. You're perfect already, just as you are. So reverse details card challenges you to accept things as they are in all their imperfections. So to step into the world and engage it without any expectations. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. So my dear Taurus, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are really picking up that energy. You're really pulling things together. And there was like something that you have done in the past that now you're benefiting from. So keep that in mind. I love you and I wish you all the best. And until the next time, guys, hopefully you will order my annual taroscopes. They are going to be fantastic. It's about 1.5 hours of giving you kind of shortcuts and giving you a leg up on the upcoming year and a decade. Love you. All the best.